This is a magical place to live in.
Every day in a house and on a site like this is joy. And look at the roses over there.
I'm just amazed at how big the trees have gotten in 20 years.
We are living completely with what nature provides. A lot of people have an assumption that to live sustainably is going to be utilitarian, minimal, no frills.
It's actually made my life a much higher quality of life.
Garden Atriums is a community of 7 net zero homes in Southeast Virginia. What net zero means is that nature provides 100% of what we need. The home itself takes care of all the heating, takes care of all the cooling, takes care of all the water needs.
What this house does is really conserve energy and waste very little. When we started to build here, this was a 5-acre abandoned farm.
There were no turtles, no squirrels, no birds. I mean, it was dead.
We wanted to protect the land. And so what we did was we looked at how the land was formed and then chose to use conservation zoning, which means we could put the houses closer together to use less lines for water, power, sewer, all that kind of stuff. So we left the big trees, we left the wetlands, we left the big fields so that everything was as it was.
Our house comes down right about there if we follow the back of our house down with the fence. But it's like another world down here. We have beautiful, fertile landscape that enriches the soil, enriches the wildlife around the site. And it gives people amenities, a pond, a park, a boat dock, a lot of amenities that most subdivisions just don't see. To create a community, you need pedestrian cross paths. People can bump into each other in a cross path. Typical subdivision, the core is a cul-de-sac. People drive past each other in cars. You don't build relationships that way. So here, our car comes in on the outside, you walk through the house to the core space, and there's paths where people connect. What's evolved here is a real sense of community.
Come on, you can do it!
Right in this area, and so we started calling her Baby Duck, and she knew, and I would put the seed out, right, and she'd come and get the seed. And then there's one time a hawk came in.
I've really loved living in this community because it is small and it's tight-knit and you know all your neighbors.
I absolutely love living in this neighborhood. It's been a life-changing experience for us, and I don't mean that lightly. It really has. Everybody who walks through the front door has like this, like you can hear this audible gasp. And that was what it was for us when we first walked in the door. And then when you walk out the back door, you have yet again another audible gasp. There's got to be at least 1,000 different varieties of trees, shrubs, perennials, grasses, different types of plants, large and small. The biodiversity here is definitely not just an order of magnitude, it's probably a couple order of magnitudes over what you would find in your traditional suburban home. It's here because it's not been bulldozed.
My passion for sustainability didn't start with that word. It began when I was 8 years old and we started canoe tripping. And one of the first things we learned as a canoe tripper is when you get onto a site, you always leave the site better than it was. Earth is our campsite. How do I leave what I'm doing better than it was when I got here? In the history of humanity, a lot of civilizations disappeared. And the number one reason they disappeared was lack of water. They can't grow food to feed their populations, and slowly it dries up. That's looking better.
Can I give you this? I forgot a bucket. Can I give you that? Thanks. You can already see the fires, the heat, the change in how people can grow food or where they can grow food. You've got people leaving countries because of wars, and wars are mostly fought over resources.
It was okay way back because a civilization could crumble, but that wasn't the total Earth. Right now we have one world. We are interconnected. We're dependent on rain. And everything we're dependent on comes from Earth. And if we endanger the source, we endanger ourselves. Water is destiny.
Most people have lawns, and lawns are really dead landscapes. There's nothing for birds or animals to eat. All they do is sort of take up water and put chemicals on it that end up in our water system. We chose plants that are low maintenance, that don't have to be watered. They can get through any droughts that we might have.
One of the other things that we do to help the site, we use non-toxic materials, concrete or crushed stone. And when the rain hits it, it's pervious. It soaks in through it and goes down to recharge the aquifers in the soil.
We have metal roofs so that the rainwater can come down off the roof without getting anything like asphalt pieces on it. Goes into our downspouts, goes into a cistern.
We bring it back into the house when we want, through filters, and we can now enjoy totally chemical-free water.
These houses cost a little bit more than probably the average home, but I will tell you, it costs almost nothing to run the house.
Things like having a metal roof or solar panels, in the long run, is going to be more efficient and save you money and not need to be replaced nearly as much.
And as a result, you end up living actually more affordably than you were before.
Our solar panels provide 100% of the power for our home and our electric car, and including my wife's kilns from the pottery studio. If she fires the kiln 3 or 4 times in the same month, we may get an electric bill, $30, $40. But normally we get no electric bill at all.
Sustainability doesn't mean giving up anything. But how I get the electricity is different. How I get the water is a little different, and that's what needs to be adjusted.
If I had to summarize it, what's normal needs to change. On our garden atriums, we have a skylight that faces south, and it's angled to be a perfect 90 degrees to the winter sun to maximize the solar gain, bring in the maximum amount of heat we can. We have here tile floors, and underneath it is concrete. They absorb the heat, and underneath it, we have insulation, so the heat doesn't go down into the earth, it stays here. And I can look out and I can see the forest, I can see the skies, I can see stars. And it creates a beauty that you just don't get anywhere else.
Stu and Trina have proved that this can actually work. It's not necessarily more complicated than any other house, it's just different.
When we build a house like this, they're very tight.
Most windows, double-hung windows, they go up and down, but the air comes in and goes right through them. If you want to seal your house, the ones we use are casement windows. You crank them closed, and when you flip that lever, it goes whoomp, it's sealed.
So there's not a lot of air that moves in and out from outside, except if we choose to. So what we had to really think about is air quality inside the house.
Normal paint, it'll off-gas for 10 years.
So we had to choose every single thing in the house so that it wouldn't off-gas. Things like zero VOC paint, porcelain tile, wool carpet with hemp backing, solid wood cabinets, and finished in a way that they don't off-gas. So it was really, really important for us to make sure that the air was healthy, and then we added plants to make sure that it was even healthier.
And so we provide 2 plants that have very large leaves. So an Australian bird of paradise, the leaves are like 5 and 6 feet long, a couple feet wide. And the other plant is a giant peace lily. What you want is more square inches of plant because the plant absorbs carbon dioxide and puts out oxygen.
I have horrible, horrible allergies, and the air quality has really, really helped my lungs.
Certain species of plants can filter toxins and formaldehyde from the air. They also just bring a sense of warmth to the home without adding extra clutter. We're not changing the world with 7 houses in this neighborhood, but if every single person looking to buy or build a new home took this approach and utilized even a few of these ideas, I think the impact would be immense.
What Garden Atriums shows the world is it's easy to do. My hope is that everybody can start doing something. Do one thing, and then do another. Add solar panels, put in more insulation, put in different windows.
The change to what we're doing has to be bottom up, not top down. I think what it's going to take for people to change to real sustainable living is they've got to start demanding from developers, from home builders, and saying, this is not net zero, I'm going elsewhere. This has off-gassing, I'm going elsewhere. And it's the same kind of change and pressure that happened with organic foods. Now every supermarket has organic food. Why? Because people started saying, we need it, we need it, we need it. Biggest picture goal I'd have is to say that we can create buildings that are totally in harmony with Earth, that are even more joyful to live in than traditional homes today, that people can say, what's normal now is not what was normal then, but this is better. It's better for Earth, and it's far better for me personally. It's a win-win.